Redditors who have a job where they go into other people's homes, plumbers, electricians, etc. What's the weirdest, most disturbing thing you've seen while working in a customer's house? I'm a face painter who does children's birthday parties. I've never had any super sketchy experiences, just a few rundown homes, but the kids always have fun. I went to one house, kinda messy and smelly, but no big deal. I started setting up my supplies, and I heard a weird beep sound above me. I look up to see a guinea pig running through a clear plastic tube attached to the ceiling. Then I take a good look around the house and notice the whole place is covered with a network of guinea pig tubes. The mom noticed me looking around and nonchalantly told me they have like 10 guinea pigs. Used to deliver oxygen to people's homes. Saw plenty of weird things. Lots of hoarders, but this one took the cake. He didn't want to let us into his house, but I had to do a home safety assessment before I could set up the equipment. He was anxious about letting me in because his house was mess. He kept telling me about his messy house. Come to find out, it wasn't just messy, it was filled with 200 chickens. He was proud of his show chickens and wouldn't let them live in a barn or coop. The smell was unbearable. Other than that, he was a super nice guy. All I can think of reading this is the little girl saying, "Look at all those chickens." Food bank delivery to homebound elders. I always fill 2 banana boxes, around 1.5 by 3 foot deep, of all types of food, and deliver to his house. One time after delivering to him for 3 years I have to come inside because he hurt his foot. He had never thrown out a single box. They lined every wall and entrance. He built a castle around his bed and a series of paths through his house. It was like thighs pillow forts you would make as a kid but with boxes. I asked him if he wanted help getting rid of them, and he said no, that it was fun and helped with his dimension. Has super fun. Edit, I'm letting it stay. His dimension? Either you misspelled dementia or has got some mad real estate. I prefer the latter. I delivered pizza for about 2 years. I had to deliver to a local motel pretty frequently. One day I go to deliver, and a large lady, I'm talking 6 feet 0 inches 220, was decked out in dominatrix attire. She answered the door ready to get down to business, then immediately closed the door and threw a robe on. She apologized profusely and then tipped me $10 for the situation. Edit, to answer some questions. Sure, I could have gone in, but when these situations come up at 16 you never play them like you think you would. Also, she took one look at me and probably thought I was way too young to be her client. Damn baby face I look. Like I'm 20, I'll be 30 soon. Sad face. You're lucky that she wasn't expecting her client to show up as a pizza delivery guy who she is supposed to forcibly abduct and discipline. Well, never thought of this. You bring up a great point. I'm an electrician, and I was troubleshooting a bad outlet in the bathroom of a former NFL player. I was taking all the outlets apart, following them to see if I could trace out the home runs, when he comes in and starts talking football. We are in the middle of talking when he just walks over to the toilet and starts taking a shit. I couldn't see him, but there was just a little pony wall between us. He didn't even stop telling his story. It was crazy. I walked out because of the smell. He came out a little later, and it was like nothing ever happened. That's probably normal for the guy. Doubt training camps and whatnot are known for having stellar bathrooms. I remember a story about a player being gifted a game ball by the coach because he managed to take a shit while on the bench in the middle of the game without someone noticing. My husband was in the military, and I grew up with a huge family in a very small house. Neither of us have boundaries when it comes to going to the bathroom. We do try to remember not to leave the door open when we have company, but I do get a bit lonely with it closed. Long ago I did estimates for fire and water damage repairs for a restoration company. This couple had a smallish fire in their bedroom. When I enter the home it's seemingly normal. Smells like smoke. There was a fire. Makes sense. They take me to the bedroom, and it was the mattress that had endured the majority of the fire, along with some of the wall above the head of the bed and smoke damage to the ceiling. Next to each side of the bed are 10-gallon buckets filled to the brim with cigarette butts, and hundreds of spilled over butts all over the floor. I was just in awe how they could live like this in their bedroom, especially since the rest of their home seemed tidy and normal. Also completely beyond me why they wouldn't clean that shit up after the fire. if for no other reason than insurance adjusters being able to blame them, rightly, and possibly not pay out. How did the fire start, I asked. Required to ask. No idea, the husband replied. Truly a mystery for the ages. My boyfriend is a locksmith. During the 2008 recession, Las Vegas had hundreds/thousands of homes that were getting repaired or abandoned. The company he worked for would have him go and change the locks to keep people out, and usually this happened in the middle of the night to limit the possibilities of running into ex-owners of the properties. I sometimes tagged along, mostly to explore some of the ridiculously big houses that people had just left, but helped some of the time. This one house looked totally normal from the outside. You couldn't tell any difference from any of the other cookie cutter, planned development homes. But inside, in every room, there were those timeout dolls. If you have never seen them, they are a doll that stands against the wall with its hands up to its face, and even more creepy, usually they have no face, but they look like a kid hiding their face, or pouting after being put in a timeout. When I say they were in every room, I mean every single room. And not just one, but dozens, lining the walls. Not laying down, but standing up against every wall of the house. The house's electricity had been shut off, so all we had was flashlights. Walking into each room, it did not get less creepy seeing doll after doll. He is already afraid of dolls, and this made it so much worse. Altogether we counted 63, but there might have been more. And now I know what I'm doing if I ever get evicted. Figure out which room will be one of the last ones they get to and set up a motion sensor that activates a recording that goes, "Do you want to play a game?" in a creepy child's voice, and have a small doll on a tricycle slowly come out and make an entire 8-movie franchise with it. My uncle is a handyman, and he went in to do some work for a family, and the toilet was just fesses. Not like someone didn't flush, rather nobody did, and the bowl was just crammed full of hardened stool, which had clearly been an accumulating scenario. Usually drug addicts, the scenes you can see are genuinely worse than animals. I'd say it's dreadful. I've posted this before a while back, but used to work pest control. Went into student accommodation to deal with insects. Can't remember what type. Carpet moths or bed bugs, maybe? Anyway, that's not the point of the story. This one room is fairly clean, but we have to spray all fabrics with the chemical in question to prevent any eggs from having a safe space to gestate. So open up suitcases, wardrobes, that sort of thing. One suitcase is full of used tampons that she was saving for fuck knows what reason, actually, and I don't want to know. Nasty shit that didn't mention it, just did the job and tried to avoid eye contact at the end. I know a guy who dated a girl who collected hers, as well as tissue she had used, hair, fingers and toenails, scabs, just like almost anything that came off or out of her body. It would have been cool to know why she did all this, but the bigger question was why he stayed with her after knowing about this. Witchcraft. Simplest answer to both questions. I painted a girl's room one time while she laid in bed and played on her phone and took naps. I knocked and expected her to leave, but she just lay back down. It was very strange. When I was a kid, I was always so awkward around contractors and painters and shit. She probably didn't realize the right way to do it was get out of the fucking room. Lumfeo. Now I'm definitely thinking of the times I've loitered where it probably made more sense for me to leave. I had an internet tech come by and swipe a $20 Steam card before. Never left the room for that company again. Inspecting an oven a tenant had complained was smoking. Yup, it definitely was. Tenant thought an oven could be used like an outdoor grill. Had been cooking meat directly on the oven racks, and all that glorious fat and grease just accumulated in the bottom of the oven and the little drawer underneath for months. How he didn't burn down the whole damn building is beyond me. I also patched a bullet hole in a shared wall/ceiling between apartments. One tenant let his girlfriend play with his loaded gun. She stupidly and accidentally fires it into next door neighbor's apartment. Neighbor was playing video games and didn't notice the bullet come through his wall into the ceiling. Had no clue until the gun-owning boyfriend knocked at his door in a panic and was relieved to see him alive. Oopsie. Edit. Thanks for the silver, kind stranger. Edit 2. Bloody awesome. My top comment isn't about a bag of used tampons anymore. Nice of him to check in. Glad everybody is okay. Had a chuckle at not noticing a bullet come through your house. I'd like to imagine he was playing Animal Crossing. God, I wish I could find the post, but a while ago someone made a post about how a bullet went into their apartment and it got stopped by a couple of books or a desk or something. Straight up wild.